Hi, my name is Armin Morin, and welcome to the BYO traffic course. Now, what is the BYO traffic course? Well, that's a good question. Well, the reason why I created this course is simply because this is one of I would say, the most difficult aspects for most people when it comes to the idea of marketing, meaning that they don't understand exactly how to drive traffic, but more importantly, they don't understand how to find traffic on their own. So my whole goal, my whole focus on this particular course is to give you the tools and give you the resources to instantly start driving traffic using various methods that I'll be going throughout this course. But more importantly is to show you how to find the most needed resource on the internet when it comes to building a business, and that is traffic to your websites. And as we go through, I'll walk you through the different steps. And then more importantly, you'll be able to see exactly how to scale that type of traffic and how to find more resources like what we're showing. And it's going to be an amazing journey because this one way of thinking about traffic, and more importantly, the resources that we'll share with you, is really going to make your job as a business owner online that much easier, because you'll have access to literally an unlimited amount of traffic anytime you want to. It's like building an arsenal and choosing the right tool in that arsenal in order to ensure that you have the right traffic for whatever needs that you may have. And that's really what the focus of this course is all about. So let's get started with it, and let's just go over the basics first, and then we'll get right into it. Now, again, our purpose is very simple. The purpose of the BYO traffic is to teach you how to get all the traffic you could possibly want. Very plain, very simple, and yet at the same time, very, very possible. But more importantly, I want to make you independent, like I said earlier. Making you independent is probably of the utmost importance in this course. Put everything else aside. Making you independent is the most important aspect. You should not have to rely on anyone or any company ever again for traffic, because you'll have all the resources that you need, and you'll be able to find more of those resources anytime you want to. Now, this type of independency is really what you need as an independent business owner, because if you have this type of power behind you, you're no longer at the mercy of someone else. You are now in control. And control really is what it's all about. We, many times on the internet, feel at the mercy of many other companies, and they seem to take our control from us. We feel helpless along the way. But if we are in control with the idea of driving traffic to our websites, that also means that we can control the amount of income that we generate. Because I don't care who you are, I don't care how you look at it, the fact is that traffic controls the amount of money that you make online. Let me repeat that. Traffic controls the amount of money that you make online. The more traffic you have, and as long as your website is converting, well, we can increase the amount of income we make by simply turning on and getting more traffic to that specific website. So that is our purpose, is to show you how to make more money through the use of traffic, but also put you in control at the same time. Now, before we talk about traffic, one of the things we have to talk about is this. That is conversion. I mentioned it just a moment ago, but conversions are the key to building your business. It does not do you any good, and I would be doing you a disservice if I did not talk about conversions before we talk about traffic. Now, I'm not going to get into a long discussion about this, but I have to say this, is that when we're talking about traffic, conversion and traffic goes hand in hand, because we can send all the traffic we want, but if the website isn't doing its job, then the money that we're spending on traffic is going to be purely wasted. And I don't care how big or how small your business is, you cannot afford to waste money that is not going to do anything. So we want to make sure that many of the techniques that we're going to talk about are used to test the conversions on your website before you open up a floodgate of traffic to that website. Because if you don't, you'll be wasting that money and then wonder why your traffic isn't converting and wonder why you're not making any money and therefore ultimately shut down your business. And that's not what we want to do. Most businesses can succeed on the internet with a very basic business model. If we provide a service or a need that a customer wants, then we can find the people in order to send to that website that would be interested in what that product or service is. It's that simple. But if it is not presented in a way that makes it easy for people to understand, makes it easy for people to take advantage of, and makes it easy for them to make a purchase or give you their name and email address so you can follow up with them later, then all the traffic in the world will not do you a single bit of good. Does that make sense? Now, conversion is the key, but at the same time, conversion is only part of the equation. Traffic is the other. They do go hand in hand. So focus on your conversions prior to you driving a boatload of traffic to your website. So keep that in mind as you start driving traffic, that we need to test our conversion numbers first and have an acceptable conversion number. Now, I can't give you a blanket number that is going to work for you because some websites will convert at different rates than others. For example, one website might convert at 0.25% into a sale. But that's okay because maybe that product that they're selling is $1,000 or $2,000 product. And then another website might be only a few dollars, but yet that website might be converting at 10 or 15 or 20%. So there is no magic number, and it's not just according to price. It's about the market. It's about the length of time, the incubation time for a person to buy. There's a lot of factors that go into conversion. And what we need to understand is that for your specific product, there is an incubation period from the time a person hits your site. Sometimes it's immediate. It only takes a couple minutes and we can get the sale immediately. Sometimes we're better off taking the name and email address and follow up with them and giving them a little bit of information over a period of time and then asking them to buy. It really depends upon your market and what you're selling and the industry that you're involved with that's going to determine that. But the most important thing I want you to understand for right now is that you need to test and understand those numbers before you go on this traffic driving rampage in order to get more people to buy your product. Make sense? So let's move on. Now let's start off with the type of traffic. And the reason why I want to talk about the type of traffic is because there's a lot of different traffic resources. There's a lot of different traffic sites. Many of you that are watching this right now have seen the different types of traffic sites, and most traffic can be put into several different categories. And I believe by the time I finish with this list, we're going to have just about all the categories that we could possibly have. So this is really important for us to understand as far as driving traffic and what that traffic is all about. So with that being said, let's just make sure that we all understand the various types of traffic. Now I'm going to list these, and then we're going to talk about each one individually, and then we're going to actually get into the act of looking at the various types of traffic. Number one, and these are in no specific order. I just want to make sure that everyone understands this. These are in no specific order in any way, shape, or form. Number one is PTC. Now, PTC stands for paid to click, and we'll talk more about what this is in just a moment. We're just making the list right now. Number two is PPV or CPV traffic. Number three is PPC traffic. Sounds like the alphabet as we go through all these different variations in letters, right? Next is ad networks, low cost traffic, viral traffic, bonus or SEO traffic. And I list that as a bonus because as a bonus to the BYO traffic course, you're going to receive the SEO traffic and WordPress SEO as a bonus to this. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But most importantly, the best type of traffic also is the BYO traffic, which is the type of traffic that allows you to think for yourself. And we'll talk about that more in just a moment. So let's start off with explaining to you the brief overview of each one of these types of traffic so you have a clearer understanding as to what they are. And then we'll go into actually start to utilizing these types of traffic and showing you how to do it. So now let's start with PTC sites. Now, PTC sites stands for pay to click. These are sites or companies that where their members are incentivized. So these sites incentivize their members to view your site. Now, these members, honestly, they're getting paid in some way to view your site. It may be only pennies, but they're still getting paid to view your site. They're clicking on a link, and because they clicked on a link, and if they stay on your site for a certain period of time, then they earn those few pennies. Now, I know that it may not sound like a very attractive model to you, but there's a lot of people that utilize these PTC type sites, and the traffic that you can get from here is actually relatively inexpensive. Now, typically conversion is not very high on these types of sites, but if your offer is good and, more importantly, free, then you can utilize these types of sites to build a list. You see, I want to do a little timeout for a moment. I hear it every single day, and talking to many different marketers from all over the world that say, well, I tried that type of traffic. It doesn't work. I tried that type of traffic. It doesn't work. Or I tried advertising on that site. It doesn't work. You know, typically, I'm going to tell you what. The reason why most sites or offers or types of traffic don't work is typically because the person trying to market on that site doesn't understand how to make their offer attractive to that type of audience. Because part of this process, like I said, is the conversion aspect, but it's the attractiveness. Now, I'm using a very interesting term when I'm talking about traffic and conversion, and that is attractiveness. The attractiveness meaning, is this targeting the person in the right way that is viewing it? Think of how the person views the site, and does this type of site appeal to them? Now, in many cases, certain sites require you to vary the way that you are presenting your offer, and certain traffic sources require you to vary the way that you present your offer. Some traffic sources, as an example, don't allow you to have video or audio on that landing page if you're going to advertise with them. So you have to modify in order to advertise and try to get traffic. Now, many of those traffic sources are very good traffic sources, and they convert extremely well, but they simply don't allow audio or video. So again, I just want to say that, and the reason why I wanted to stop just for a moment is because many people, when we're talking about some of these sources, they're already prejudging in their head, and they're thinking, I don't want that type of site. Don't judge it first. Make sure you understand the attractiveness factor. If you understand the attractiveness factor and what is happening on the site, then with a little common sense, you can figure out how to modify your offer to make it more attractive to that specific type of audience and the conditions which they're viewing your website under. Does that make sense? So it's not that the site has to change. In reality, it's you that has to change. You and your offers has to change, and you need to be more chameleon-like and literally change with the landscape as far as where we are advertising. That's important to to understand, I should say. I said underknow, but understand. Now, the reason I say that is because all too often we're stuck in our ways. We're stuck in the way we do things. Everyone should change to modify and to accommodate us. No. If you want traffic from a site, then find out how to modify your site, your landing page, or to create a new landing page that is going to work on that type of site. Remember, you can always have more than one page on any website on the internet, and it's highly encouraged. So just remember to keep that in mind. Now, this is a great way. The PTC sites, in my opinion, is a great way to build a list, and you can get those people to convert onto a list very, very easily. But also, you can test how effective your offers actually are. Now, these offers, like I said, they may not convert at an extremely high rate, but they're relatively inexpensive a lot of times. Not all of them, but a lot of times they're relatively inexpensive. And if we can get this type of traffic to convert, that helps us to increase our conversion. And at the same time, it's helping us build a list. These are the things and the important pieces that you have to understand as we go through each one of these traffic resources. And I know we haven't seen what a PTC site is yet, and we haven't seen exactly how it works, but once you do, you'll understand more of what I'm talking about. So are you ready? Next, some example of PTC sites. Now, these are some of the most popular PTC sites that exist out there. There's Neobucks, there's ClickSense, Clicksia, Incentria, Cash and Hits, LinkGrand, WordLinks. And these are many of the sites. Neobucks and ClickSense are by far the two most popular, PTC type sites that exist out there. They have a huge number of followers. They have a huge number of people. I'm not sure how many thousand, but I know ClickSense has literally hundreds of thousands of people that are in their database that pay to click on ads. That's what they do. So ClickSense is very, very big. Neobucks is probably at least equally as big. But these are just some of the sites that you can utilize to get started with. Again, Neobucks, ClickSense, Clicksia, Incentria, Cash and Hits, LinkGrand, and WordLinks. And I believe all of them are .com. But if not, just simply type them into Google and you'll be able to find those. So again, these are some, and we'll go into detail exactly how to find more of these types of sites as we go on a little bit later on. So let's go on to the next type of traffic site, PPV or CPV. Now, I know technically that these are different types of sites, and there's a very minor, pretty much a minor difference between PPV and CPV, but I consider them basically the same. PPV stands for pay per view. CPV stands for cost per view. And the variation to me is pretty much negligible. I think they're the same. So these are basically networks. Now, PPV, again, you're paying per view, or you're paying, you're paying per view, basically. Now, there are whole networks in place that display pop-ups or pop-unders to their visitors on their network. Now, the great part about a PPV or CPV traffic is that in some cases you can get it for fractions of a cent, and other cases you might be paying 1 cent or a half cent or 1.5 cents for traffic. It's not difficult. It's actually very, very easy in order to generate traffic with these types of sites, because it's pretty much guaranteed. It's pretty much guaranteed that if you utilize the site properly, you will get traffic. But again, remember some of those little pieces that I talked about earlier? The PPV and CPV, they don't allow you to have audio or video typically on any of the advertising sites that you put on their network. So you can't have a video pop up. You can't have an audio come up. So therefore, you need to create a different type of landing page, one that simply just doesn't have an audio or video. So that's pretty much the way that works. There's not really a lot of complication to it. It's just no audio or video. So we need to replace that with images, or we need to replace that with just a different method. Now, that still means that we can have a pop-up, I should say an opt-in on that page. So we can still have an opt-in. It's just that we can't do anything audibly or visually on that site that we use. So the way it works is visitors typically install a toolbar or software. Now, many times we've all seen it on the internet where there's a toolbar. Get this free toolbar, and it's going to allow you to do this cool stuff, change the background on your Internet Explorer browser, or get this cool software. It's going to block pop-ups, or get this cool software, and it's going to allow you to change your Facebook page or layout or something like that. And much of this software is downloaded and installed on people's computers. And as it's being downloaded and installed, when a person agrees to the terms of service, they also are agreeing to install a little program that basically sits in the background on their computer. And now when they view certain sites on the PPV networks that someone said, hey, I want to put an ad on this site. So when someone visits this site, I want to display my ad. So for example, let's say that I was advertising toilet paper. Okay. Now, don't ask me why I chose toilet paper. But let's just say I was advertising and I wanted to sell toilet paper. So I could say that anytime someone went to Charmin's website or to Scott Tissue's website, that my website or opt-in would pop up underneath that other site. So now when a person goes away from that site, all of a sudden they see mine. Now, how targeted is that? Well, it's very targeted because I know that they went to one of these other sites interested in essentially toilet paper. And now, after they leave, they see my site that is on toilet paper. So my ad is extremely targeted. Now, the way it's controlled is all by URLs, which simply means that we need a list of URLs in order to market to these people. So the URLs are of the utmost importance to us, and finding good URLs is very, very key in making this type of advertising work. So PPV, CPV traffic is very, very good. Now the ads can be under or on top of literally almost any other type of website. So by them being under or on top of any other website, we just have to come up with a great way in order for us to generate URLs that are relevant for what we need. So let's take a look at some of the PPV networks out there. And again, when I say PPV, it's PPV/CPV. It's just PPV is easier to say. So here are just some of the networks, such as Direct CPV, which is probably the most simple to use and the easiest to get started with. Traffic Vance, Media Traffic, Lead Impact, Add-on Network, Adori. These are all PPV networks, which means each of them works a little bit differently. Some of them require deposits. In fact, some of them require deposits up to $1,000 just to get started, while others simply, it's a pay-as-you-go scenario, meaning that you might upload $20 or $25, or in some cases, it's $100 in order to get started. And the way it works off of a debit, which means that you upload a certain amount. So let's just say I uploaded $100 into my account. So when I uploaded $100 into my account, what would happen is now all the traffic and the clicks that I get is deducted from my $100. So each time someone visits my site or my site is popped up under another site, I have, in some cases, maybe 1.5 cents deducted from my balance. And when my balance gets low, well, then I need to replenish it at that point. So the great part about most of these networks is the fact that we are never really going to get stuck. Now, the PPV networks are interesting because almost all of them work the exact same way, is they work off of this debit scenario. So by working off a debit scenario, we are in control because we really can't spend more than what we put in. So that's fantastic as far as that goes. But also, we just need to make sure that we have the right list of URLs. That's it. That's the only thing that we need, is a good list of URLs in order to advertise on these types of networks. So we'll go over that in a little bit, and we'll show you exactly how that works and basically what the background is, and we'll look at some of the sites as well too. So now, next is PPC traffic. PPC traffic, this is the oldest, the most recognized type of traffic that there is. You've all seen it. It's how most of the major advertising works out there. Now, I say PPC, but it could be on a pay-per-click, or it could be on a CPM, which means, and CPM means cost per 1,000 views. That's what CPM stands for. So it's either pay-per-click or CPM, but typically those two terms are used synonymously. So that's just how it works. Now, examples are Google AdWords, for example, Bing Advertising, Facebook, and many, many, many others. The majority of ad programs out there across the internet right now work off of this type of traffic model, which is you pay per click or you pay per 1,000 views, And it doesn't matter if it's text ads, and it doesn't matter if it's image ads. It's pretty much the same no matter what. It's just different networks have slight variations as far as how they work. Now, when we're talking about PPC, PPC actually works with typically ad networks. And ad networks, even though separate, PPC is a type of traffic. Ad networks is kind of a collection of companies. And there are companies out there who basically gather advertisers and publishers. And really what they do is they put them together on more of a, I wouldn't say necessarily a more personal level, but at a higher end, a higher quality type level. So in many cases, the traffic from an ad network is a more targeted type of traffic that you would get. And it can be incentivized, and it can be even directly for sales as well too. So it's more controlled, and it's like having someone look out for you. So let's say I have an offer, and let's just go over this as an example. I have an offer that I want to generate, let's say, leads as an example. So I know that if a person comes to my website, gives me their name and email address, ultimately on the very next page, I'm going to make them an offer of some sort. So let's say that I average $2 for every person that opts in. That's based on my numbers. I can figure that I'm going to average $2 for every person that opts in. The ad's going to be that targeted. Well, now if I know that number and I know that number is good, and I've tested on a wide variety of traffic sources, I can say to these networks that every person who confirms their email address with me, I'm willing to pay you $1 for. So now they're going to take a little piece off of that, and they might offer it to their publishers out there for 85 cents. So maybe they take 15 cents as a network and then pay their publishers 85 cents in order to advertise my offer. So now every time I get someone who opts in and confirms their email address, I'm going to pay that ad network $1. Now I know that I'm going to be getting paid essentially $2 because my numbers already told me so. But now, because I'm working with an ad network, I might be able to get 1,000, 2,000 leads per day. And you think I'm joking, but I'm not. I might be able to get 1,000 or 2,000 leads, and in some cases, a whole lot more than that per day. Per day. Because ad networks are extremely powerful, yet most people don't know how to utilize them, and they don't know how to deal and get these things set up properly. So if you understand ad networks, this is where you enter in a whole nother area of traffic. Now, especially if you have a mass market product, if you are marketing something that is mass market like diet, weight loss, whatever that may be, now you have a much bigger opportunity because it's more mass market. It's easier to drive traffic. If you're something really, really niched, it's going to be difficult to find the right publishers that are going to want to advertise your particular product or service. So maybe the ad networks are not going to be for you, but there are tons and tons of ad networks out there. So we just need to really look at what's out there, and all networks work differently. And for example, like one ad network might just focus on a publisher and an advertiser out there, while some ad networks might focus on a more of a CPA type scenario, which means a cost per acquisition. And what the scenario that I just described was more of a cost per acquisition type scenario, meaning that you're only paying for results in that case. Where on a publisher scenario, meaning that they might work just as truly an ad network, they are only paying for CPM or PPC. It doesn't matter what happens on the back end. So there's really two types of ad networks. There's more of like a CPA network, and then there's on the other side more of just a straight ad network. And we'll get into real finite details about the two, because there's two different animals entirely, but they're both really considered ad networks. And as an overall term, except one's more on an acquisition, one's focused just on just the traffic. Here's the traffic, do what you got to do, and they just leave it alone. But with the ad networks on the CPA side, if you have an offer that is appealing to them, then you could put together something that uh, is just incredible, really. So we just got to think about how that could possibly work. Next is low cost traffic. Low cost traffic and low cost traffic strategies. Now, there are several programs which exist where you can buy visitors, and these are real people, real visitors, for literally pennies. Now, most people discount this type of traffic, which means they don't even think about it. They might try it once and oh, that doesn't work for me. I'm never going to do it. That sucks. And then they leave it alone. But this type of traffic, it's so cheap that you can build a list, but it needs to be curated, meaning that when I say curated, let's just stop right here for a moment. When I say curated, it means that we take this traffic and we put them through a process, and we turn that okay or mediocre traffic into better traffic because we have them take actions. So we can funnel them through almost a series of tests. Click on this link, click on that link, and get them to do different things. So we make that a better type of traffic, a better type of visitor than we had originally. Because we don't know just because they came from this resource doesn't mean that it's a very non-engaging type of visitor. But because, like I said, the cost is so low for this type of traffic, you can still collect opt-ins on it, and you can build a list, and you can easily build a list very, very quickly. I've done it. I've done it live in front of audiences. I've done it multiple times just to prove a point, and I've done it with really bad websites. Now, you might be thinking, why would I do it with really bad websites? Because at the time when I was doing this, I just grabbed the first website I could find with an opt-in page on it, and it wasn't really the best laid out site, but I just used that and I started driving traffic to them. Now, some low-cost traffic examples. Two of the most popular in this type of genre, at least how I define this type of genre, is AdFly and LinkBucks. Now, LinkBucks and AdFly basically work the same way, but for the most part, these are two very, very similar in nature types of websites, and you can buy traffic relatively inexpensive. And there's a lot more, but these are just two of these out there where you can spend very little money and get a significant amount of traffic and get the biggest bang for your bucks. Let's put it that way. Next is viral traffic. One simple word, and that is leverage. Leverage is the key in viral traffic, and this is more a traffic strategy more than anything else. It's a traffic strategy, but I'll teach you various ways to leverage your existing traffic and parlay it into more traffic. That's what we really want to do, is we want to take existing traffic, and we don't care about them, although we do in the short term, but in the long term, we want them to share what we have with other people. We want them, and we want all their friends too. If the average person knows 250 people, well, I don't only want them. That would be small thinking. I want those 250 people. And then I want their 250 people, and I want their 250 people, and I want their 250 people. We want to create some type of viral traffic. Now, many people, when we hear the term viral traffic, we hear it typically in association with, a dog on a skateboard or a child doing something very, very funny. But viral traffic is really just about leveraging existing traffic that we have coming in already. If we can leverage existing traffic, if we can leverage that and turn it into more automatically without us having to think or do anything about it, that's what we want. That's what we want to do. Because by doing that, what we're able to do at that point is build a system where for every one visitor we put into it, we get 5 or 10 visitors out. And it doesn't have to be 10 million visitors in order for it to be successful. It might be just thousands, tens of thousands. Maybe on a good day, we can turn that into hundreds of thousands. And maybe every once in a while, yeah, sure, maybe we could turn it into millions of visitors. Just by applying various techniques together, I was able to, for example, take one ad I took one ad that I ran, and I'll tell you what I did is I put it on Facebook, and by combining a couple of different techniques and strategies together, I was able to take that one ad and leverage it out through paid and through understanding a viral traffic method. I was able to turn that one ad and get almost 250,000 people to view my ad. Now, of course, a lot of that was untargeted, but at the same time, that's 250,000 people to view my ad. That's exciting. That's exciting. And it's just possibilities. We don't know who or when we're going to get the next sale from. So what we need to do is we need to blanket and utilize a blanket strategy sometimes in order to get the traffic and to get the traffic we really want. And this also with viral traffic is where it gets fun, because there's so many parts of the process that we can use to turn something into a viral traffic machine. And that's what we're really talking about, is turning what we have into a viral traffic machine, where it works automatically for us to leverage the traffic that we're getting and turn it into more traffic. You see, getting traffic to a site is a losing proposition from the very, very start. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. We get one visitor and we have the possibility of making one sale. That's it. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. But viral traffic, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. Viral traffic could be 1-to-10, meaning that we have one visitor come in, and that's the work that we did. We brought that one visitor in, but then our traffic machine, our viral traffic machine, turns that one visitor into 10, them and their friends. Now all of a sudden, we have 10 people coming in. The process repeats itself. That 10 turned into 100. That 100 turned into 1,000. 1,000 turned into 10,000. 10,000 turned into a million visitors. Whatever it may be. You see my point? So we need to look at that. And a lot of times I look at it in terms just like that. When I'm thinking about traffic and I'm thinking about many aspects, I'm thinking about that one piece, that viral aspect of how can I leverage more? Because in many cases, in some of our websites that we have, we're not going to get 1 million visitors to that website, nor could we, and nor would we want it, because it would just be wasteful. But on some websites that we have, we do need to consider how can we make it more effective for the people that are coming there, and how can we leverage them and turn them into more than what we have. This is where the creativity kind of kicks in, is by simply leveraging the traffic that we have. So we'll talk a lot about this, because this is where it gets really fun. This is where we can start thinking of strategies that honestly people have never even thought of before. But also, we can make a lot of money in the process in doing this. Next, and like I said, this is more of a bonus, but it's our SEO traffic. Now, along with the BYO traffic course, you're going to receive my new SEO traffic course, and this focuses on WordPress SEO, how to optimize your blog for traffic utilizing the WordPress SEO plugin, plus my personal settings that go along with that, as far as how to set it up, and what I believe works to be the best settings. Now, you may also change these. You may not agree with me, but through what I've done on my websites, I know that these are the best settings for me, and you can utilize these same settings yourself. And so we're not really going to go into that throughout this particular series, but you're going to have access to that from a different course itself that you'll be able to access in the bonus members area. And then the last type of traffic is BYO traffic. Now, this is, to me, honestly, the most important type of traffic that we could possibly share in this course. And this simply means that I'm going to show you along the way how to find your own traffic, where you are not dependent upon me to just tell you where to go and where to advertise. That's fine at first, and I understand that everyone needs a boost in order to get them started and pointed in the right direction. But where we really want to be is where we are not dependent. I've said this many times at seminars where I believe that many people should be an island when it comes to business, meaning that you should not be dependent upon someone else to build your business. You should not be dependent upon anyone else in order to drive traffic for you. You should be able to do it all yourself. And by being able to do it all yourself, you'll really truly have a business that can last long term. It doesn't matter. It just amazed me the other day that when I really started to think about it, we weren't getting all the traffic that we wanted to some of the offers that we were making. And when I sat down and I thought about it, we actually haven't promoted hardly any of our offers to our affiliates for many of the things that we've been doing lately. And it kind of hit me the other day just by thinking about this, that we're not utilizing that one resource. Now, that's good and that's bad. It's bad in the fact that, yeah, I'm kind of an idiot for not announcing certain things that we're doing to my affiliates. And it's good in the way that we are an island. On our own, we were able to do what we needed to do and drive the traffic that we needed to drive without depending upon someone else in order to do it for us. And that is, like I said, a good and bad. I don't depend upon my affiliates for traffic. I don't depend upon them for sales. But at the same time, on the other side of the track, when we look at this, I am not dependent upon anybody for my success on the internet. I'm not dependent upon joint ventures. I'm not dependent upon anything else. The traffic that we get is either A, from an email list that we have, or B, from advertising that we do. And by understanding how to drive traffic to your offers via advertising, we can control that. We can scale that. We can build that. And we can make that work extremely well for us. So again, what this really means is if you know what to look for as you do your day-to-day activity and surf the internet, you will find huge sources of traffic. And they've been right in front of you all these years. They've been right in front of you every single day. In fact, in many cases, they've been taunting you. And you didn't even realize that this type of traffic existed. And it's all right there. And it's all right in front of you. You literally just had to reach out and click on it sometimes. Many times you did click on it. You just didn't know what you were clicking on. And this is an amazing way to think about traffic. I guarantee one thing by the time you finish the BYO traffic course, and that is, as you go through this, when you are done, you will easily be able to go out and find and notice and realize all the different traffic sources that you've been missing. You'll be able to find all the different traffic sources you've been missing, but also at the same time, you'll realize that where there's potential traffic sources, meaning you'll see somebody do something, it will catch your eye because you're now thinking differently about traffic, and you'll immediately go on the hunt. You'll immediately track down that traffic source. You'll immediately find out exactly what they are doing in order to drive their traffic. And by finding out what they are doing, you now are in control, and you have the most powerful way to make money and to drive traffic that has ever existed. One of the most, I'll tell you right now, power comes in many forms. Power comes in many forms. And at one point in my life, and some of you know this, I sold vacuum cleaners door to door. And as I did that, I knew it wasn't the most glamorous job. It was a job that I had, and I ultimately learned to do it very well. And oddly enough, I think I could do it better today than I did back then. But when I did do it, I realized that I had a form of power that I was given, that I learned. It was a strategy, a method, a way of thinking that I never thought about before ever in my life. And that was, I could literally walk outside, knock on someone's door without them knowing me, and sell them a $1,500-$1,600 vacuum cleaner. That's power. Of course, I had a product that I believed in, and I had a product that I could honestly say that I felt was the best product in the world. for what it did. But at the same time, 2 hours later, I came out with hundreds of dollars in commission, sometimes $500 and $600 and $700 in commission when I walked out. So 2 hours later, I walked out with a sale in my hand. That's power. That's power. And the way I view traffic and understanding how to find traffic, I view it in the exact same light. That is power. That is potential income. That is kinetic money, if you will, because it's all there. It's all there. It's right in front of us. And all we have to do is just go out and grab it. So now with that being said, what we are going to do is we are going to get started right now, and we are going to break this down into not talk about everything all at once, but in each session, we're going to talk about a couple of the different ways in order to drive traffic. So we can make it easier for you to understand and also make it easy for you to digest. If I tried to share with you all these strategies in one single session, it just wouldn't work. And the reason why it wouldn't work is because you'd never be able to keep up. It's just too much information all at one time. Your brains just can't handle that, and neither could mine. I would forget more than what I would learn. So by breaking it down into a couple different strategies per session and allowing you to understand how those particular strategies work, it's going to be more effective for us as we go over the next the next sessions. Not only this session, but the next two sessions are going to follow after this. So today, what we're going to get started with is really just two types of traffic. Number one is PTC and PPV type traffic. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go directly online. And I mentioned some of the PTC type traffic and PPV traffic strategies that are out there. And we're going to go to those places, and I'll kind of walk you through the websites. We'll log into, let's say, one of my accounts there, and we'll walk you through to show you exactly how you would go about creating an ad on there. But also, at the same time, as we're doing it, after we finish each one of these, I will walk you through and show you how to find an unlimited number of these. Now, some traffic sources like PPV traffic, there's only so many websites that actually have PPV traffic. So that list is not very big. But on PTC traffic, there's more and more sites coming up every single day that we can utilize to our advantage, and some are very inexpensive that we can target. So I'll share with you how to identify and how to search in Google. That's going to be our BYO traffic aspect on each session that we do, is expanding these so you don't have to depend upon me to find you additional PTC sites or PPV sites for that matter as well too. So let's switch over to our browser, and then we'll continue from there. So here we are, and we are in Google right now. Now, two of the popular sites, and I said two of the biggest sites that we have in the PTC world is NeoBucks. And this is what the NeoBucks website looks like. It's very, very simple. And you can see their members, their advertisers, and this is how much money they paid to their members yesterday alone. This is how big the site is, believe it or not. They paid out $100,000 to their members, literally in pennies at a time. They had 9,256 new members yesterday alone. That's crazy, crazy. I mean, that's how big this type of site actually is. Another site, though, that is very similar to this is ClickSense. Now, it's important to note ClickSense is with an X. So ClickSense is, again, another very similar type of site. You can see their offers. They have surveys. They have ads. They have a number of different types of offers on their site that you can view. You can get paid. I don't personally, I'll be honest with you, I don't understand the PTC model. I just don't get why I would want to watch an ad and get paid 2 cents just to look at it. Look at a website for a couple seconds. I just don't, I don't get it. But with that being said, there's a lot of people that do. And if that's what they enjoy and if that's what they like doing, then by all means, more power to them. Now, as you can see on this particular website, there's some numbers I want you to really look at it right here. Now, for those of you that can't see it very well, it says we paid our 2,915,259 members 4,297,600. Let's try that again. $4,297,617.47 on time every time. We've delivered 947 million views to our advertisers' websites. So they have over almost 3 million members. I mean, that's a crazy amount of members on their site. And I use this little tool to kind of give me an idea of how popular any site is. And let's just kind of see something. Their Alexa ranking is 339, which means they're the 339th most visited site on the internet. And that's ClickSense. Let's take a look at NeoBucks. We don't have a ranking there, which is strange, which is odd. But it's just not showing up, or my tool isn't working right now. Let's try it one more time. No, for some reason it's not coming up. So either way, I can tell you this. Both of these sites are getting a significant amount of traffic because of the number of members that they have and the number of ads that they're viewing. That's really important. So each one has a different way to sign up. NeoBucks and, again, ClickSense. What we're going to do is we're going to log into ClickSense. Okay, the way you sign in is simply click Sign In, then enter in your username, password, and now you're in the account. So now let's take a look at around our account itself. And you can see that, I've had like $75 in purchases where I purchased ads inside of here. And then there's some things that we can click on, or they want us to click on. And you can see that there's ads literally all over the place here that they want us to click on, and even ads for NeoBucks for that matter. Now, here's a little hint for you guys. Now, look at the ads. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on this because this is going to be like lesson number 1. Look at this ad right here on the right-hand side of the page. Now, it says NeoBucks, 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 NeoBucks. Now, I was just on the NeoBucks site, so I do know how they got it there. So they kind of cookied me when I was on the NeoBucks site in order to display this ad, which looks like very much like a Google ad, correct? So now, if I notice down the lower right-hand corner, it says Ad Hits. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control and then hit, and then click on it. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to show you part of the BYO traffic strategy. When we see things like that, when we see ads like this, and we know that we were just on the NeoBucks site, the question always comes up is, how did we see this ad? How did that ad get there? And then the question comes up, can I do that too? So then that brings us to this website, and we'll come back and we'll look at that in a little bit. So let's zoom out again, and let's take a look at exactly how this particular website works. So we have our account. We can do different things here, but more importantly, what we can do is we can create an ad. Now, we are not here. Let's just clarify something. We are not here to click on ads. That's not what we're trying to do. We're not here to promote their program. It may be good, maybe not. I'm not one to make a decision on that, and you can make that decision yourself. But more importantly, what we want to do is we know that they have 3 million, almost 3 million members. So what we want to do is we want to advertise to those people. We want to become an advertiser. So therefore, we click on Advertise up here. So now you can see previous ads that I have bought. Okay, previous ads that I've bought over here. So we can see, like, this was an ad that I advertised, and we can see I had 500 clicks. Now the ad credits, you can use different ad credits in order to run an ad, and you can see how many clicks I've got and everything right here. So let's just say that I want to advertise. Okay, Now, when we go ahead and advertise, we have 0 ad credits. So I have 0 ad credits balance, active PTC ads, 0. I don't have any active ones. So what we can do first, let's add an ad first. Click add. Now we add a title. So for example, advertise my marketing tutorials website. New, we'll type in brand new marketing tutorials. Okay. Click here. Now, the reason why, I'm putting a much longer title than I normally would. And the reason why is because if we look at that ad, it says between 5 and 70 characters. So if they're going to give me 70 characters, I'm going to use as many of those as I possibly can. And I'm just going to put dash in between the click here. Then I'm going to put in my URL that I want to advertise. Now, it's always good whenever you're doing any kind of advertising to use some type of link tracking mechanism, such as clickmeter.com or linktracker.com. It's LINKTRACKR, link tracker. But you typically want to put a link tracker in here. And the reason why I would do that is because I want to make sure that I can track the visitors on my own as well. I don't want to just depend upon the individual company. I want to depend upon my own statistics, so I know exactly what's happening, and it also makes it easier for me. So now we enter description. So we enter in the URL that we want to promote, which should be a link tracker, and then description. Brand new site. Provides best marketing tutorials to explode your online business. Try all of our videos today for just $1. Click. Oh, I went over. So we're going to get rid of some of this text and try today for just $1. Click here now. So that would be the ad. I hit submit, and there it is. That's the ad. Your advert is pending approval. You'll be notified by email of our decision. If approved, you'll be able to assign ad credits to this advert and start promoting it. So now that's the simplicity of adding an ad to it. Now, the way that we buy credits is simply by clicking the add credits balance up at the top. So what we do is we come up here and we click add credits. Now, it's deceiving. I will say that right up front. Because of how they list their credits. It's just not easy to understand how it works. So, with that being said, when we hit the drop-down menu, it's going to allow us to purchase a certain number of ad credits. Now, with any type of advertising, as many of you know, I don't believe in spending a huge amount of money in initial testing. So what we would do is I might want to choose a 5,000 ad credit for $9.50. That would give me a 21% discount. And then all I would do is simply click the appropriate button, typically PayPal, or you could use Payza as well too. Liberty Reserve works a little bit differently. But we would select the ad that we want to do and then simply click pay or buy now. And it would just go through a buying process and it would give us ad credits where we could use it. Now, once our ad is approved, we would be able to go inside of here and add credits. So now, for example, like this ad says, I don't have any credits left, so we can leave that alone. But in here, what we can do is when our ad is approved, we just simply assign the ad credits, and then our ad starts running. So then we just monitor it, we watch it. Many times it goes very quickly. I mean, you can get through your clicks very quickly. And here's the key part on this. which they don't tell you right here. If you look at these ads, I have 10,000 ad credits. Notice up here, I bought 10,000 ad credits and I had 500 clicks. Okay. But now over here, I had 10,000 ad credits down here and I had 1,000 clicks. Okay. Now, why is the difference? And the reason why is because one's a premium. You can spend more ad credits to get what they call more quality or premium clicks. So it's very important that you are aware of that. Don't just automatically, well, I want the best ones, because you're going to go through more credits and you're going to get less clicks. So for example, my other one, I had 1,000 clicks, but at the same time, my second ad, I had 500. So for example, these two ads were 500. I spent the 500 on each one of those. These two ads, I had 1,000. And then the one in the middle here, I had another one. So this is really simple. It's really easy to understand. It's not that difficult, not that hard. So you can see right here with this particular ad, I had 1,000 clicks and then I had 89 free clicks and I spent 20,000 credits for this particular ad. The second one, I had a total of 2,500 clicks. I had 408 free clicks and I spent 30,000 credits on that one. So it probably equals out to about the same no matter what. But at the same time, I just feel better about it. So track it. Now track it. Now remember, you have to look at how the ads are. Now there's a button at the very top of this page. Now I'm going to show you what these ads are. I'm going to click View Ads. Okay. So now here is where my ad would appear. My ad would appear right here. And what I would do, for example, we'll choose one. Like this one says, $0, $20 deposits. The first thing you want to do is before you place your ad is look around, see what kind of offers are showing here. See what kind of offers. It's really important for you to get an idea as far as what other people are offering. That's really positive. That's really a cool way to look at this. But at the same time, we need to look around and see, okay, well, which ones would we use? And so let's take a look at this one. This looks like a pretty standard opt-in page. Now, next to each one, let's zoom in on this. Let's take a look at, okay, this one, this 0 invested, $20 deposit. It says 15 seconds. And if we did that, I would earn 0.0005 cents. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and click on this. And I'm going to zoom out. So now, first of all, I have to wait 15 seconds in order for me to get paid. This is what the user is actually doing. The pop-up appears down, I should say the ad or the website appears down here. You can see that right here. Now, the cat, the dog, and everything else, that's to know that you are a real person. And so they've uploaded this particular one. It says, click on the cat below to continue. So I would assume that they're going to want to watch me click on another ad. Now, notice up in the right-hand corner, though, there's another ad up here by ad hits. So that might be another thing that we could click on. And again, ad hits, we've already opened up in a new window. So it says click on it, click on to continue. So now that starts. So when I click on the cat, that started my countdown. So now it goes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now I am rich. I have just made 0.005 cents. Okay. So that would be the first thing. So I officially got paid. So now I can go back over to this site. And now if I want to earn some more money, there's the site. It says click on the cat to continue. Well, I'm not a genius, but there's my cat I found. And now again, this is what the user is experiencing. They're saying solo blast your website to 30,000 subscribers every month, absolutely free. and then I can look at this and I can say, oh, okay, well, that sounds like a valuable offer. Now, if you viewed this ad, if you viewed this Willow website, would you would you be interested? Would it make you want to opt in? Maybe, maybe not. So then we close on this, and I want to look at some ads. I want to know how these are. So again, we'll click on another ad, and it says, "Hey, ClickSense user." Now this person's pretty interesting. Hey, ClickSense user. They address the ClickSense. They know they're on ClickSense. Want to earn 15 cents clicking ads instead of 1 cent? You can. It's free, and with a BBB listed site, you're free instant access here. So that person's pretty smart because they're addressing the ClickSense user. They know they're on ClickSense. They know they're advertising on ClickSense. Remember I said about modifying your site? That's awesome. This is an amazing way for us to do this. So they're advertising it, and it's not very complicated. This is not a beautiful site that we're looking at here at all. So again, this one, they're a premium ad. Why is it premium? Because now it's 30 seconds. The person has to stay on the site 30 seconds. I think it's a waste of time in this one because 30 seconds really is not going to do them any good, but that's their problem as far as them advertising. I only need people, if I'm going to have something like this, I only want them to click on a link. I only need 10, 15 seconds. It's not going to take that very long time. So don't fall into that trap as well. So let's close that. And let's just look for one more ad. I don't want to ruin all my money making capabilities. So, dear user, want to earn 25 cents per click instead of 1 cent? Yes, let me in. Very simple, straight to the point, right? And then I find the cat to continue. They only did it for 15 seconds. So I can see what that is. So they have a very simplistic way here in order to advertise. So, take a look around and find out what some of these sites are. And click on some ads, click on some ads, find out what people are doing, find out what kind of offers. Like this one intrigues me. It looks like it might be a nice site. I seriously want to look at it. Now this is a video here. Oddly enough, the only way I can get back to the site is I actually have to. So they're just driving traffic to this Jokeroo website. I find that interesting that they would utilize this method. I just want to get out of here. So now we close that. This one is one more. Simple opt-in, straight to the point. It's very interesting. It's very interesting, some of these strategies and what their people are doing. So all we would do is take a look at what some other people are doing, modify an opt-in page in order to meet that and make that make sense for us, and then place our own ads. It's really straightforward, straight to the point. Now, NeoBucks works pretty much the same way. There's really no difference as far as between this and NeoBucks. It's going to be laid out slightly differently, but the fact is that NeoBucks is going to pretty much be the same type of idea. It's a different layout, of course, but it's pretty much the same type of idea. So if I was going to attempt to utilize a PTC type website, I would use ClickSense and NeoBucks first before anything else, and then test out small amounts of money. Don't go hog wild. $5, $10. That'd be about it. Now, as we were going through the other site, we noticed that this ad hits site comes up. Well, I already know what this is. It's not a big surprise to me. But this ad set, this site here, we can buy ads. So for example, if I'm an advertiser, I can say, okay, well, here's some sites I can advertise on, and it gives me the cost. For example, if I want to advertise on cashandhits.com, which is one of the sites that we talked about, I can advertise on it with a 468 by 68 banner. Okay, so that's $7 for 3 days. For 30 days, I can advertise on it on a 120 by 600 for $40. So that's pretty awesome. That's pretty amazing. That's a good deal. So if I click browse websites, I can find out some of these other ones. So for example, maybe on this one, 14 days, 468, $23. This is average page views per day, 197,000 page views per day. Average daily unique users, 93,000. So for 14 days, I can get exposed to their 93,000 people per day. So this is like a cool place that we can advertise. So with this, it's straightforward. We can choose sites to advertise on. That's one way that we can utilize this site. Number two, we can go ahead, my site-specific ads, my network-specific ads, buy network ads. Here's another. We have to log in in order to do that. Can't remember my username for this one. I think it's just Armin Morin. Let's just make sure. Okay, so now we can buy network ads. Now with this, we can name the ad. We want to do text, or we can do image. And then if it's an image, what size image do we want to run? Okay. Show my ads everywhere, or show my ads in these regions only. Now, let's just do a timeout. Inside of ClickSense, when you run the ad itself, they'll ask you which areas that you want to run to. So choose the areas that are certainly most appropriate for you. So now, for example, here, let's say I want to choose North America. Then I would click the next step, and that would run me through. So you can run the whole network, which means all the sites and their network. So if we clicked on advertisers, it would be all of them, all across the whole thing. So if we looked at browse the websites as far as where we could advertise, we could, for example, let's say advertisers. I was just logged in. Browse websites. Okay, so there it is. There it is. So now what we can do is we can find out, we can just specifically say, okay, here's the number of unique users, 77,000 unique users. I want to advertise on this site. So I click more info. Looks good, looks nice. 30 days, image ad 468 by 60 is $50. So I can choose if I want to spend that money on it. And it shows me the website, ClickFair. I want to look at the website before I advertise on it. I can say, okay, well, here's what this website looks like. Looks nice. It's a PTC site. That's another place that I can advertise on. So now they're saying they get 600,000 unique visitors, 77,000 worldwide members. So I'm thinking, okay, well, it seems like an up-and-coming PTC site. And then I'll look at right here. Here's two more places, right? Paid to click, right? So now I'm click this and click Twickers. So now, there's two more paid to click websites. What you'll find, now let me just say this about pay to click websites. You will find that with pay to click websites, they will actually advertise on each other's website. It's like this weird thing that all of them advertise on each other's website. And I don't know why. I have no idea why they would do that, or why I'd want or allow my competitor to advertise on my website, but they do. So that makes it easy to find that we can kind of literally chain each one of these sites together and link from one to the other, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And we can find great places to advertise very, very quickly just by viewing things like that. So from here, with ClickFair, what we can do is we can see view advertising. We want to buy advertising. So we can see paid to click ads, 1,000 credits, 500,000, up to 500,000 credits, for $350. I mean, there's a lot of options here, and the site looks great. It's oddly enough, it's a great looking site. So this would be another place I could advertise on. So now what we found is we found like 4 places to advertise on. They were PTC sites that we didn't have on our list originally. But more importantly, we found another resource, which is basically a straightforward PPC type advertising site. So that is Ad Hits. So now we've just expanded in a couple seconds all the different places that we could advertise. So Ad Hits is a great place to advertise, and we can put ourselves in front of these types of people very easy. Now again, even Ad Hits is advertising on a lot of the PTC websites, but at the same time, we have to say that we can buy traffic relatively inexpensively. So that kind of gives us a door. Again, we don't want to spend too much money, but sometimes if you notice that some of the sites that we're looking at here, it's even on some of the most popular sites, it's not that much. It's not that much at all. So for example, here's one, pay-per-click. You can advertise in ClickSense. Now they're pretty popular. They got a boatload of visitors. They're saying that they have 313,000 daily unique visitors. So we can advertise on them for 7 cents per click. Well, on a straight out ad, that's actually not bad. If you just want to run a text ad, that's 5 cents a click. So we can advertise on some fairly highly trafficked sites. And if we have a good offer that's going to match up to these type sites, it makes sense for us. Now let's just do another timeout for a moment. Some of you have sites, have traffic, have products or services that may not be suitable to advertise on these sites, and that's okay. I understand that. I totally understand that. But remember that even though these people may be interested in the so-called make money online type scenario, in how they're viewing our sites, it's okay. See, if we're buying ads, it's one thing. But at the same time, we have to look at that everybody's a person. I don't care what their interest level is. Everybody's a person. So depending on what you're marketing will determine if these types of sites are appropriate for you. So if, for example, people could say, well, would you advertise a diet or weight loss product on these sites? Yeah, I would. I'd be careful about it, but I would. Why? Very simply, because everyone needs to lose weight. It's a mass market product. If you have a mass market products are the easiest things to advertise online, period. That's it. So now the question is, what about the BYO traffic aspect? We found several sites, and I gave you a list of several sites that we could do on a PTC basis. But what about the BYO traffic method itself, as far as how can we expand this? Well, oddly enough, you're going to be shocked at how easy this really is. And this is actually what I do. I actually come to here and I say list of PTC sites. So when we can see, for example, I clicked on this one before. List of PTC sites which pay me. Now, when I'm searching for these, one of the other criteria that I look at is I look at the date when they were posted. I look at the date when they were posted. Now, April 2013. That makes a lot of sense. And I might click through 1, maybe 2 pages to see if anything pops out. I skip videos. I don't look at any videos. And I'll click on this one just to see what it looks like, what it is. PTC Centrals. This says reviews. Best Bucks, new PTC site licks. Okay, so that's pretty good so far. But now, some of these sites maybe have been up here for years and years and years and years, and I don't know about them, right? So what I do is I come up here to Google, and I click on Search Tools. And the first thing I do is I narrow it down. How long? Past year? Past month? Whatever it may be. If I want the latest information, the most up-to-date information, I'm going to choose past month. If I want something that's pretty relevant, and I know that the information is probably not going to change that much, I'll include the past year. So if I could use past year, some of these have gone away, and now I can work and only on these links. So this makes it sense. But I'm looking list of. So I don't want one at a time. I'm looking for bulk numbers. So this one has a bunch of banners, but all the banners on it go to a PTC type website. That's just the way it is. So that's a good resource. Next one, List of PT sites which pay me. So I'm just looking for the site list. And they gave me some. So these are some links down in here. So I would take a look at each one of those to make sure that they do exist. And this was published in 2011, so that's not too bad. Another one, ClickSense, NeoBucks, Essentia, Clixia. This one's Donkey Mails, okay. Bucks P, Jill's Click Corner, Logi, PTC, Paid to Click.in, PTC Box, okay. So there's 10 more that we can add to our list. Next one, Trusted Sites, PTC. So I'm looking at this one. There's the Bucks P again that we just saw for a moment. ClickSense, many of the same ones that we've seen before. And I'm looking for anything new. This one, ESTITI. That one looks new, so I click on that. Okay, so there's several there that I would grab. And then over here, I'm looking at, okay, BatBucks, MotoClicks. These are some newer ones, which sounds pretty awesome. Here's the ClickFair one that looked really good to us. So this one looks good. Established sites. We have navigation at the top. This is PTC Central. PTC sites right here. So that looks pretty positive. That looks great. I like that. Legit sites. I like that they said that these are legit. So they list some here. That looks pretty good. And they have some ads over here, which might be some of the other sites that we could go to. So now my strategy is really simple. Is in this particular case, what I'm doing is I'm simply looking for a list of sites to advertise. I know a lot of people look for these things. So what I do is I look for a list of sites. And here's another one. You know, I like this site, Kiss My Bucks. Paid to click, cash stream. And there's some ones that we haven't heard of. But so they look pretty good. They look pretty good as well, too. But by looking for lists, we now can create this massive database of PTC sites. If we find out that we have good luck with a PTC site, guess what? What we do is we simply leverage it, we expand it, we scale it, and we start finding all the PTC sites. We start becoming a PTC magnet, literally, where we just start roaming and searching and finding. And we find sites like that review site, which apparently stays up to date with PTC sites quite often. So we would look at sites like that and find different places and start making our list. Now, one of the things that you want to do as a traffic person and a person that's interested in driving traffic of any sort is start making your lists. And this is very, very important for us. Every one of you should start creating bookmarks that are list. For example, create a bookmarks folder in your folder. For example, like in Google, it's really easy. What you do is you come up here and let's just say that I believe that this is a good site. And so let's say I'm going to click on this Cash Camel as an example. So here's the Cash Camel site. Now, again, I don't know if this is any good site or not, but I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to go up to Google, click on the star, and then I'm going to edit as far as where I'm going to put this. I'm going to put this in a new folder, and I'm going to call it PTC websites, and then I'm just going to click Save. So now when I go up here, I have Cash Camel, and dang it, I didn't name my folder correctly. There it is, PTC websites. My folder's not naming right. Okay, well, you kind of get the idea. My folder's not renaming for whatever reason, but that's the idea. As you go up here, so then I would go to the next one, click on it, open it up, And after you saved it like once or twice, when I start clicking the star button, and again, it's saving it to my new folder at this point, I'm just clicking done, and then done, and then done, and I'm just going to keep on going through here to find out new ones that I think are at least worth looking at. I'm like, okay, progressive earnings for content surfing sounds okay, so I'm going to click done. Then I'm going to go over here, Scarlet Clicks, okay, I like the name, done. And so I'm going to start making this huge list of PTC sites, if that's my interest, if that's what I find out, if that's what looks good to me. So by having that huge list of PTC sites, now all of a sudden I can start advertising. Then I start testing. Okay, let's start off with a couple bucks. A couple bucks here. Well, do I get any traffic? Do I get any clicks? Do I get any conversions? What's my deal? So then I go through the same thing with each one of those sites. Make sense? So now, this is how you expand. This is the BYO aspect of it. We expand. We keep looking. We look for lists. We look for new. We look for creating a Google alert for these types of sites. With it. Now, again, Google alert may go away, but we can find what it is, because Google, I think what they're going to do is they're going to disable Google alert, and I've heard that several times in the past. But the fact is that we can keep monitoring these types of sites and keep watching them as they come about. And the way that I've been doing that lately is just by clicking search tools, past year. If I want to get more accurate information, past week. There's sometimes I search so often, I literally starts coming to here and past 24 hours. And sometimes with some sites, I'm waiting for it to add something new. I'll literally go past hour. So I'll narrow it down as much as I need to in order to find the newest stuff that I want and that I'm interested in. And that will be part of my daily routine in order to build that list. So PTC sites would be one of those things that I would do considerably. And we have this huge list that we put together for PTC sites, but you need to build your own. You need to build your own and then work through that list. That's the key. This is what makes you independent. Now, next, we talked about PPV type sites, or direct PPV type sites, or CPV, I should say. So one of the easiest ways to get started is, in my opinion, direct CPV. Direct CPV gives us an opportunity to advertise at a relatively inexpensive rate. They do have a minimum deposit. The minimum deposit is $100, but it's not very difficult in order to do it. So, for example, for a URL, we can advertise for as little as 0.015 cents for a URL, and for a category or a keyword campaign, we can, again, get charged literally 1.5 cents. If we want to run of the network, type ads, which I don't recommend, you can get traffic for as little as 0.004 cents. So it's always something to consider in that, is understanding how the traffic and how it works. So what we're going to do is we're going to log in to my account here. And I just want to make sure that okay, so here's our account. Now, what we're going to do is basically walk you through the process. The process with direct CPV isn't that complicated, and then we'll take a look at some of the other networks after the fact. But the process here is not very complicated in any way, shape, or form. So it's very simple, and I'm going to walk you through step by step how to set it up and what you would do along the way in order to do this. Now, the first thing you're going to have to do is, when you first get an account with direct CPV, is to add funds to your account. And the first time you have to add $100, but after that, you can put it in lower increments. I believe it's $25 increments, if I'm correct. I just add funds periodically whenever I run out. So right now, my account, in this account, I have a $12.97 balance. So I'm going to go up here into campaigns. Well, I shouldn't have to go to campaigns. I'm going to go over here to the right. I'm going to click create new, and we're going to click campaign. And when we click that, it's going to take us through a setup process. Now the campaign names, depending on what we're promoting, so we'll put in marketing tutorials. Now, let's just do a timeout. I know that on my marketing tutorials website, as an example, I have a video on the front of it. So I technically couldn't advertise that particular website because on either PPV or CPV type places to advertise, you cannot have in most cases, and I think almost all cases that I know of, you cannot have a video, you cannot have an audio play automatically on the site. That's one option. Now, which brings up the idea, and I know one person had asked me this before, does that mean that you could have the video there and have the option for people? Well, there's nothing that says that you can't have a video on the page. It's just that it can't play automatically. So they would have to choose that themselves. So we might be okay advertising something like that if the video did not play automatically. Does that make sense? So now we put in the name of campaign, in this case, marketing tutorials. I'll put marketing tutorials 2 because I might have had one that called marketing tutorials already. Then what we're going to do is we're going to list the countries. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a big fan of country segregation, meaning that we keep countries separate. Canada is by itself, the United States is by itself, wherever else I would advertise. And typically for me, I advertise to the English-speaking countries, such as the ones that I know of. And I know there's a lot more than what I'm going to list, but the basics. In my case, the basics simply means Canada, United States, UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia. I might even advertise to Singapore sometimes. It really depends. And I'll find certain countries that along the way that I'm like, oh yeah, I forget about that one, or I forget about that one. But those are kind of like my biggest ones that I advertise consistently, especially Canada, United States, Australia, and UK. Those are the ones I pretty much nail every single time, and it works. It just happens to work for me. But what I'll do is I'll separate each one into a different campaign. I may have the exact ad sending to the exact same web page. The only difference in that particular ad would be U.S. versus Canada, or Canada versus New Zealand, or whatever it may be. So I'm only going to have each one of these ads are going to only target one specific country. And the reason why I do this is because in many cases, what you'll find is that different countries and different people in different countries react differently than if they were on their own. So we need to separate them in order to give us the best analytics, because we might find that an offer pulls very, very well to people in the United States, but that same exact offer with the exact same criteria does not do well in Canada whatsoever, or vice versa. It really just doesn't make sense. So what you do here, though, is you simply select the countries that you want to advertise to, and we'll click add. So for example, I chose the United States. I click save and continue. And in this next step, it's going to ask us for a group name. Now we created the campaign name, which was marketing tutorials. And so in this particular case, it's kind of like a folder relationship, meaning that the campaign is like your folder that you're creating on your desktop. And then inside of that folder, we're going to create additional folders or additional files. And that's kind of the way this is kind of structured. And it's really for organizational purposes. So in this case, I might want to say something like my ad group is going to be MT, and we'll put USA in this case. Okay. Now, budget. Let's look at this. Identify the daily cap for this ad group. Ads in this group will stop running once the daily amount is met or the overall monthly cap for the campaign is reached. Important note, daily caps below $50 may exceed your budget in the following cases. If you bid on high traffic domains such as Facebook, Google, YouTube, did not bid on domains which are in the Alexa top 1,000. Do not bid on domains which are in the Alexa top 1,000. You bid on high traffic one word generic keywords, or your bids are about 5 cents, or you set run of network to less than $50. In other words, what they're saying is that it may go over every once in a while, and they just want to kind of cover their butts to let you know. That's really all they're saying here. So how much do you want to spend? Now, you remember, in order to get started, you have to upload $100. The question is, do you want to spend $100 a day? My suggestion is no, because until you tweak and modify your offer in order to get it going right, what you want to do is you want to keep it low. So I might want to say, well, let's just send $5. Okay. Now remember, I'll explain the $5 scenario in just a moment, because it's actually a significant amount of traffic once you see this. So first of all, we want targeted, the network, CPV pop-up. There's actually only one choice here, the way we've set this up so far. We want it fixed, and the max bid, 0.015. It's always going to be 0.015. That's actually the minimum reality. But that's in order to get the premium so-called traffic, if you will. So 0.015. Now, why does that make sense for us? Well, first of all, let's pull up a calculator just for a moment. And I want to give you a scenario. So we have 5.00, 0.00. And we're going to divide that by 0.015. Okay. So it's 1.5 cents. So we're going to click equals 333 visitors. So we know at 1.5 cents that we can get 333 visitors to our website. So that's pretty awesome. So we can that's a good number of visitors to test what we can do on a PPV or CPV type campaign. So $5 actually does go a long way in many ways. So we don't have to spend a huge amount of money in order to find out what is happening. If we can just do it in small spurts of like $5 here, $5 there, make a change, $5 here, $5 there, make a change, $5 here, $5 there, make a change. That's really what we're looking at. So 5 cents, $5. Make sense? The destination URL, in this case, whatever your website may be. In my case, I'm just, again, fictionally, is that a word? Fictitiously, utilizing marketing tutorials as our example. And then we want to choose the target type. There's two options. I typically don't utilize the keyword option. I typically don't utilize the keyword option at all. I typically will only go with a URL type, which means I control where my ads are going to be popped up on. So the URL type is what I focus on. The keyword type, we can enter some keywords and do it that way. And if you want to experiment with that, that's fine. What I'm demonstrating to you is exactly how I would do it. This is what we found to work best. The category we haven't found to work very well. The keyword type doesn't seem to work very well for us and for what we're marketing. I'm not saying I won't do it for you, but the URL type will pretty much work with anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you're doing. The URL type is very, very important. So we're going to choose URL type. And when we click save and continue, the next page is simply going to ask us exactly what URLs do you want to advertise on. Now, this is where it takes a little bit of understanding, not much, but just a little bit. So let's go to Google and let me show you the manual way to do this. You don't need any special software really to do this. It's actually really simple. What we would do is we would go to Google. Now, when I go to Google, and let's just say I'm advertising, let's just say I'm advertising marketing tutorials. Okay, so it makes a lot of sense. So we're going to do marketing tutorials, and my website should be ranked number 2. Okay, so I'm right there, which is pretty awesome in itself. But now we've got all these websites. So I've got this website, this website, this website. I'm going to open up every single one of these. Okay, except for the video one. And I think, did I miss them? I think I got all of them except for the YouTube ones. So now, a person coming to this particular website, they search for the term marketing tutorials. This site is getting a little bit of traffic for a very targeted keyword phrase. So if someone came to the site, would it be appropriate for me to pop up my ad, or would I like or would want to pop up my ad underneath this website? And the answer would be yes, absolutely, because I know these people are interested in one thing, and that is marketing tutorials. And if they saw my website there's a good chance they might want to join it. Here's another one, about.com, marketing courses and tutorials. Again, would I want my ad popped up underneath this? Yes. Linda, absolutely. These are all different types of ads, different types of tutorials, very, very popular website. So I would definitely want mine popped up here. iContact, well, not really tutorials, but they are kind of marketing tutorials, but specifically geared around marketing or email. So yeah, I definitely want it there. Next is marketing tutorials. I don't know what this tutorialized. So again, yes, that works for me. Next one, marketing 91. Bunch of links, so a bunch of different tutorials. Sure, absolutely. I want that. And then this one, total arts, marketing tutorials, Eureka guides. Absolutely. Makes perfect sense for me. So I want my ads popped up on every single one of those sites. So what I would do is, as I would go here, I could simply copy by hand every single one of those links. And I would copy the URL that they sit on, and I would simply take that list and I'd paste them all here. One URL at a time. And I could do that for each keyword that I want to do. Now, this is a relatively, I guess you'd call it a kind of a painstaking task, honestly, and it's very, very tedious at the same time. So there's got to be an easy way in order to do this. And so, one of the things that we do, as many of you know, is we do make software. We've done it for years and years and years. And to kind of give you an idea of what we do and how we do it, we created a software called PPV Generator. And we're going to switch over to that software to kind of give you an idea of how this actually works. Because it's actually fairly simple, and honestly, it's actually kind of cool too. So what we would do is we'd load a bunch of keywords. So for example, the easiest way to do this is to go to Google, and let's switch back over to Google just for a moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my keywords, and we're going to log into here. And it's just the Google keyword tool, pretty standard. So now the primary keyword that I would like people to focus in on is marketing tutorials, of course. And that would be one of the things that I would search on. This might be one keyword phrase I'd want to do. So I'm going to click search, and it's automatically going to search for me, and it gives me 741 keywords. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab some of these keywords. Typically what I would do is just simply export all of them. All of them are perfectly fine. And we would export all of them into a file. That's how it would work. So it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. We're not going to do that though, just to save a little bit of time. We're just going to grab a couple of these. So we're going to assume that we could import these. And when I download this file, I would simply just copy the list of keywords. That's all. But to save a little bit of time, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of paste from the keyboard there. We can enter in our own, for example, marketing tutorials. We could load from a file. We could upload from a file there. Marketing courses, marketing videos. And again, if we load from a file, we just copy everything all in one shot. So for example, if I took all these keywords and added them one at a time or copied them all, it would paste all of them right in our little piece here. And that would work out just fine. But to make things easier, like I said, for us, what we want to do is we just want to simply utilize the keywords that we have here, just like I said, to save a little time. So we enter in the keywords first. The next thing we want to do is we want to choose the source. What do we want to search? Google? Sure. If you choose Google, you can choose some options, such as what country? What country do you want to utilize and search Google at? So that would be one option. If you don't want to choose Google, just uncheck it. If we want to use Bing, we would just select Bing. If we want to use Yahoo, we would choose Yahoo. We can also choose Google, Bing, and Yahoo is easy to understand, and even Google Blogs is easy to understand. Now, Technorati, on the other hand, is a blog search engine. So that works out great. YouTube, as you know, is, well, YouTube. Now, one of the things Direct CPV does is they tell us not to advertise on YouTube. And the reason why is they have a question mark in their URLs. And if there's a question mark in the URL, Direct CPV ignores everything after the question mark. So that's one thing. The second one that we can advertise is on Amazon. Now, when people search on Amazon, we can find these keywords. And if people are on Amazon searching for those keywords, then our ads would pop up, which would make total sense for us. So what we're going to do is we're just going to simply click Start as an example. And when we click Start, it's only searching for a couple keywords here. But you can see it's automatically taking each keyword that we have, marking course, then marking tutorials, then marking courses, and then marking videos. And it's going through each one of these in Bing and creating this list of URLs for us. So we would let that run, and by letting this run, even with just 1, 2, 3, 4 keywords, it would take a couple minutes, not very long, but it would certainly take a couple minutes because we're not going just one page, we're going multiple pages deep. In fact, let's just pause it. What we're doing is we're starting on page 2, the way these settings that we have it currently right now, and we're starting on page 2, and then we're going 5 pages in from there. So that means that we're going up to page 7 in their search results. So we can select it and create a very big list. Now, right now, we found 54 URLs. So we can save these results, and we'll just name that 54. We can save those results, and then all we need to do next is simply open up that file. And we're just going to open up that file and grab those URLs. And just a moment, let me grab those. And then go back over to our browser. Simply come over to here to Direct CPV and hit paste. So now all those URLs that we just found in a couple short minutes are now in there. And then we click Save and Continue. Just got to remember to pause this campaign so it doesn't go live. So now everything is right here. It is all those URLs are right there. So technically everything would be checked by Direct CPV to make sure our website is okay. But right now we're done. There is nothing left to do. That's our campaign. That's the setup on it. And at this point, all we'd have to do is let's just pause these. Let's pause these all, just to make sure that they don't run. But at this point, that's it. That's all you'd have to do. Repeat the process. Do it again. Find a new set of keywords. Do it again. Find a new set of keywords. Do it again. Find a new set of keywords. Do it again. And you just repeat the process. Find a new set of keywords and then expand the country. Do a different country. Do a different country. Use the same keywords. Do a different country. 4 or 5 countries. Whatever it may be. Wherever is appropriate for you. And that's how it works. Now, almost all PPV or CPV type websites work the exact same way. That's it. What I just showed you was how every single one of them works. It's not complicated. But in order to find them, it's actually really easy. I actually gave you a list earlier on of the CPV or PPV type websites, and it's not very complicated because there's not a lot of them. I don't know how that got in there. List of presidents. List of PPV networks. Okay. So there's several here, and you'll find just by looking at these, there's really not a lot of PPV networks. There's about like 10, and some of these aren't even in business anymore. For example, like this Traffic Vance, Media Traffic is good. Lead Impact, I think that's fine. Direct CPV, as we were just on. Adori, Add-on Network. Gemma Media is still there, but not one that I'd really recommend. Linksador is shut down. So Lead Impact, Adori, Add-on Network, again, Media Traffic. Traffic Advance. You know, these Media Traffic and Traffic Advance are some of the bigger ones that exist out there. And Traffic Advance as well too. Some of these you need a referral. You need a referral from other people in order to get involved. Some of these I haven't, applied myself to, and the reason why is because some of them want $1,000 in order for me to advertise on them up front. And honestly, I don't feel I have to pay $1,000 up front in order to see if I would like to advertise on one of these sites. Even though I'm going to get back in traffic, it just doesn't make sense to me. So some of those ones I'd stay away from. But other than that, these are pretty much the ones that are available, pretty much that list I talked about earlier. And so PPV networks, even though they're cheap traffic, and a lot of people use them. I mean, for example, look at Traffic Advance, eHarmony, Electronic Arts, a couple of these other companies that have utilized them in the past or utilize them now. We don't know exactly. But they have some pretty big companies that have used them. And so, these are companies, big companies that are pretty amazing. And at the same time, it puts us in good company. So this is something that we want to look at and take more serious than what many other people do is ignore them. This is one of our advantages that we can use, and we want to make sure that we are utilizing it in our market before many of our competitors are. This is not something new. This is something that's been around for years and years and years, except most people tend to ignore it. And I'm telling you that this is an opportunity for you to get traffic. I'm telling you this is an opportunity for you to get significant traffic. And again, no matter what your product, no matter what your service is, by having it go by a URL scenario, what we can do is we can really target a lot of other websites. So, and then also each one of these networks, they may have other advertising opportunities, and some of them do and some of them don't. Instead of just a pop under a URL, some of them will have standard banner traffic. Some of them will have standard text ads. And we can utilize that as well in order to increase the traffic. Now, at this point, just in this one session, we've covered a lot, even though the techniques that we talked about were rather simplistic. But at the same time, they're very, very powerful, and we can use them to drive a significant traffic, even if we stopped right here. In the next session, we're going to expand even further and give you a really big picture of truly the amount of traffic that you can drive once you understand that. So with that being said, this session, we're officially done. Thank you all very much for watching this. And in the next session, we're going to go on and expand your idea of how driving traffic is and make it very easy for you to understand. More importantly, easy for you to implement, and also teaching you the concept of BYOT traffic as we go along the way. So again, thank you all very much. Again, my name is Armin Morin, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye, everybody.